Okay, guys, Jackie M here. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Yeah, just double checking my audio. Okay, guys, give me 2 seconds. And thanks for joining me tonight, guys. I'm another experimental recipe, and it's Vietnamese. And obviously, this channel is for Southeast Asian and more generally Asian cooking, but my specialty is really mostly Malaysian. Okay, so this is my first time attempting this recipe. It's something I really enjoy eating, but sadly you don't find it that commonly here in Sydney, right? And I'll tell you a little bit of a story about why I decided to make my own with this, apart from the fact that it's hard to get as well. But if you've got any problems, by the way, thanks for hosting our Petra. Audio a little faint. Hey, hey Christina. Hi, Finnegan. Hi. Apparently my audio is a bit faint, is it? Just let me double check. Line for USB. Okay. Testing audio. Hear me okay? Let me just make sure the setting is right. I mean, I can't help tweaking everything, right? Default microphone, you know, that sounds right. Line in 4. Let me just apply this quickly. Yeah, thanks for following. Okay, beef in wild pepper leaf rolls. I forgot to actually pull up a picture of it. It's on my social media. By the way, if you're watching this anywhere else at all, you can interact with me in the chat here on Twitch itself, which is the short URL is just jackiem.live. I have it redirected to my Twitch page, but if you want my Twitch long URL, it is just twitch.tv slash Jackie M Food, okay? But otherwise, Jackie M Live takes you to the same place. And recipes will be posted on my website within a few days. And the website is just jackiem.com.au, right? And just give me a second while I just get my stuff organized. Before I go on, a quick shout out to Lenovo Australia for supplying me with the laptop that I use for my live broadcast. I'm using an IdeaPad Y700, which is a gaming laptop, okay? And also Rode Microphones, who supply me with the microphones I use for my broadcast. Assuming I use it right, like I've tweaked the hell out of my setup, so sometimes if the audio plays up is a user fault, not the fault of Rode Microphones, okay? Sounds great to sit when you reach over whatever, it gets a little quiet. Okay, thanks for that. Let me just double check here. Of course, I was moving my microphone as well, okay? And this particular microphone is designed to only capture a certain perimeter of space, essentially, because, and that works because I've got my kid Noah who's with me every Wednesday my time. This particular broadcast comes with my child, okay, because it's his day off, so he can be a little bit disruptive, just so you're warned. So beef in wild pepper leaf rolls. I usually have it with vermicelli, and I'll show you some of the ingredients. Where are my okay, here you go. Now, I bought these today. I went all the way to Cabramatta. For those of you who live in Sydney or in Australia, most people would know Cabramatta to be a very, here he comes, to be a very, basically a great hub for Indo-Chinese ingredients. So I actually made the trip down to Cabramatta today, which is about a 45-minute drive each way, to pick up. So I can pick up some other ingredients closer to me, but Cabramatta is usually my best bet when I want something a little bit more exotic. And by exotic, I mean these particular leaves, right? Okay. These in Malay are called daun kadok, and in English, they are apparently called wild pepper leaves. Okay, so this is what they look like. And in fact, even in Cabramatta, I struggled to find these, and I was actually going to have to do something else instead of this today. But I found these at one particular grocery store. I found smaller ones grocery stores and they weren't going to be useful in wrapping. So thankfully I found these just at the last minute. The other ingredient I'm going to use, this is a very, very simple, looks like it's going to be very simple to make, right? But we will find out. But I bought some beef mince the other day and they were on sale here at the supermarket. So these are just regular beef mince. Noah, don't take the chili. Right, let me just figure out the camera angle here. So it said price drop, so I thought, oh well, I might as well grab it because this is like about $4.60 here for about for over half a kilo of beef here, beef mince. But basically you need these kinds of leaves, and I'm thinking if you have trouble getting these, that maybe spinach leaves might work as well. So think about that, because in reality they don't actually have much you know, much aroma or much scent to them, okay? And like I said, this is my first time making this, so it's a little bit of a case of the blind leading the blind. So I'm going to make the mince mixture to start with, and I have researched this, but let's see how we go. So I'm going to basically throw all the ingredients into a dough mixer and mix it all up. And by the way, if you've got any problems hearing me, do let me know, okay? Thanks, Noah, it's too cute. You are too cute, Noah, so don't let anyone tell you otherwise. So this is going to go in here. A couple of ingredients that are going to be mixed into the beef mince. I'm going to throw in, if you watched my last episode, I did some fried onion, and I was talking about, like, you know, when you're shredding onion through a one of those mandolins, to not try and get, you know, you're gonna have residual bits, right? So I said save these and use them for your next recipe, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So these are just brown onions, basically the offcuts from like shredding onion in a with a mandolin. So I'm going to. I just realized this is dismantled. Blade, just give me a second. And this is my thermocook. The beauty, if anyone thinks of doing live streaming food, right, come and talk to me if you want to talk about brand collaborations, because everything I use here is essentially, well, most things I use here are basically supplied by different brands, right? But this is a thermocook, and it essentially functions, is a multi-function kitchen device, but one of the things it does is basically act as a blender. So I'm just going to essentially just throw the onions in here and just chop them up. And I should, in fact, okay, not to worry. I was going to blend some garlic, but I already have some garlic minced, so it should be okay. And if you've got any questions at all, hit me up. I'm trying to get some of these things. Thanks for following, Breho. I'm going to actually try and get this started, and then I'll address some of your questions in a bit, okay? Okay, so I really just want this fairly roughly chopped, and that's what I've got here, okay? And I need a spatula. And for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Jackie M, and I am a Southeast Asian street food specialist. I used to own a Malaysian restaurant here in Sydney, Australia. I was born and raised in Malaysia. I gave up my restaurant about 4+ years ago to look after my Down syndrome son Noah over there. So like I said, he can be a little bit disruptive. He's entertaining himself with Teletubbies at the moment, so it's all good. So just some onion. And guys, like I said, this is my first time attempting this recipe, so I will finesse it a little bit before I post it, which is why there's always a lag of a few days, right, before they show up on my website. Having said that, a lot of things that I do are what we call in Malay agak-agak. Agak-agak literally means guesstimate, right? Because I do a lot of guesstimating. I'm not very kind of like, you know, I don't measure things right to the nth degree here. So I'm going to throw in some minced garlic, okay? This is some residual minced garlic from a previous cooking experiment. I like a lot of garlic, so I'm going to throw that in. The other thing I want to throw in some peanuts, right? These are just blanched peanuts without the skin on. Not all recipes have peanuts, but the one that I'm trying to replicate does have peanuts in it. It seems to work really well, okay? And these are bought from my local Asian grocery store. And usually I would roast them for making peanut sauce with. Okay, I'm going to throw them in like that. It's safe to use crushed peanuts, but look, I'm not going to bother. Just throw them in like that. I think that's all I need. No, I'm gonna, you know what, I'm gonna add the seasoning into this, and according to the recipes I've researched, they're pretty basics, but I'll just run through them quickly while I put them in. Okay, so apart from making this, right, like I say, it's going to be a case of the blind leading the blind to some extent, because I've never used these leaves to wrap with, not the way that we're going to wrap anyway. Just throwing in a pinch of salt here. And I want some sugar, so we'll put about 2/3 of a teaspoon of sugar. And I'm going to throw in, I use this a lot. Everyone who watches me knows I use this a lot. I'm not getting sponsored by them, though I probably should. This is what's labeled as chicken powder. The brand is Knorr, K-N-O-R-R. There are lots and lots of different brands. If you shop at Asian grocery stores, this seems for whatever reason to be, has not received, no one? Okay, come you move over here. Good one. He's trying to do his spinning thing and the furniture is getting in his way. But yeah, for whatever reason, you can find like shelves and shelves of these at Asian grocery stores. We Asians use this a lot in our cooking, but you would struggle to find it at Western grocery stores, okay, like supermarkets and that sort of stuff, certainly in Australia anyway. But it's not too dissimilar to using stock cubes, so if you want, you can crumble some stock cubes into, but it is a little bit different, but follows the same line of thinking, right? So this particular brand does actually contain MSG, but there are others that don't, okay? I'm not averse to using MSG in my cooking, but I know some people are. But I usually just use a little bit of it, so I'll just put in like probably essentially about 1/3 of a teaspoon. Could I use a little bit more? Okay, just put a little bit more in there. Okay, and I want a dash of fish sauce, right? This is just if you're looking for brands, and I always tell people when you're following Asian recipes, one of my biggest struggles, because I've put out a cookbook before, just a dinky little cookbook, I found that people who were trying to replicate my recipes, having tasted my food at my restaurant, and subsequently bought my cookbook in anticipation that they were going to be able to recreate them, I found that they struggled to exactly replicate the flavors, and my theory is because they're using different brands of like the same kind of ingredients, okay? So that is something you have to be mindful of. But for what it's worth, when we're using fish sauce, a lot of the time, this is the brand I use, called Squid. So it's got a picture of a squid on it, right? So if you follow me enough, you'll know the kind of brands of stuff that I use. And then if you copy my recipes, that will give you a better representation of what they taste like. So these are the ingredients in there. I'm just gonna throw them in the dough mixer and mix it up. Now we gentle. Okay, apparently that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm just gonna check some comments. Those little hands unstoppable. Yep. Noah. Jackie, could you say hello to my wife's son? It's his birthday. McDaddy 9. What's his name? Hey Noah. To McDaddy 9's wife's son, right? Happy birthday from Jackie and from Noah. Noah, say hello. say hello? If you let me know his name, I will give him a shout out. Okay, so part of the reason, like I said, part of the reason I'm attempting this is because it's very, very hard to come by here in Sydney. I have tasted it in Melbourne, but it didn't really blow my mind for whatever reason, right? Maybe I just went to the wrong place. But there is one restaurant here in Cabramatta that does it really well, but the last 2 times I've been there, and I've been going to them since they opened like 10 years ago. Last 2 times I've been there, they've just been a little bit weird about seating and that sort of stuff. Like they'll shoo us away. Like one time, basically, even though the whole restaurant was empty, they decided we couldn't sit at a particular table, and they wanted to move us. And I said, oh no, because I've got Noah and he wanted to sit in the booth. They got really upset. This was when the boss of the restaurant wasn't around. So they started throwing things, and they started dumping the menu on me and just making sure, made it quite clear that they weren't too happy with me sitting at that particular table. And the next time I went there, they did the same thing. So I just walked out. The next time I walked in and I tried to sit in the same table, they said, no, you can't sit there. You have to sit over here. And I said, okay, thanks very much. I walked out and I've never been back. So I need to find out how to make it myself. Now, if you want to sit down, here you go. Good boy, yeah. He does that all the time. I promise you, he's cute and adorable, and really, really like minding his own business for 10 hours. And as soon as I hit go live, he's like, oh, what's happening? I want to be part of it. This isn't working it really well, so I'm actually going to just mix it by hand, right? I kind of thought that it'd be easier just to mix it by hand, but for whatever reason, the recipe I saw online had it like, using a dough mixer. Noah, stop. Okay, so I've got this here. I'm just going to put on some gloves and just really kind of like work this in. And in theory, you're supposed to let it like marinate for a good half an hour or so. But we're going to skip the marinating. You know what? Another thing I want to throw in are these fried shallots. Okay, these are commercial fried shallots, and I use them a lot as shortcuts with my cooking. So I've got the fresh onion, and I'm going to throw in some fried shallots as well. Just adds a little bit of crunchiness and a little bit of like flavor as well. So throw that in, and name after his father. Can you see my wife's son? What's his name? Tyrone. Tyrone, happy birthday from Jackie M. I hope you have a good one. Noah? Yeah, say happy birthday to Tyrone. Hey? Happy birthday. Here you go. No, we're gonna go sit over there. You go sit over there. You wanna watch a TV? You wanna watch TV? Hey? Okay, so I've got this. Right, and I'm just putting some gloves on, or one glove on, and I'm going to mix this up. So this is half a kilo, basically about a pound of beef. Noah, what's the matter, sweetie? You want a drink? You want a drink? You want a drink? Yeah? Where's your drink? What happened to your drink? Here you go. You want a drink? Good boy. Yeah. And go sit down. And go to sit. He's just realized it's just straight water. We were out in Cabramatta earlier, and I got a durian smoothie earlier. Anyone knows what durian is? Say yes. But durian is like what we call the king of fruits in Malaysia, but it's very strong and very pungent. But he loves it. So I bought a durian smoothie, which is basically durian whisked up with milk and sugar. And I filled up his bottle with that, and he couldn't stop drinking it. But we've run out now, so that's back to just straight water, so he's not that impressed. No, we? Okay, so this is mixed through, right? this is going to be served on like some vermicelli. And like I said, I bought this in Cabramatta today. It's a different brand to what I usually use, okay? But look for, this actually says Vietnamese vermicelli. I don't know how it's different from normal vermicelli, but if you were looking for this at Asian grocery stores, it will be labeled either vermicelli, rice vermicelli, or rice sticks, okay? There are very, very similar noodles that will be labeled mung bean noodles. That's not the same, okay? Mung bean noodles are lovely, but they are a completely different animal. If you use that, it'll be really, really silky, smooth, and slippery. Okay, so that's not what gets served with this dish traditionally. Okay, so Vietnamese vermicelli, and traditionally in Malaysia, the way we would use this is we would soak this in hot water first, and then we'll just blanch it quickly, right? When I first came to Australia some 30 plus years ago, I saw, what's her name? Lindy Milan, who's actually a friend of mine now, but I've watched Lindy Milan on Australian television cooking, I forget what it was now, and she used some rice vermicelli and she threw it directly into a pot of boiling water, and I was thinking that's not how you use it. You're meant to soak it and then you blanch it. But today I'm going to do exactly what she does because I don't have time to soak it. So I've got a pot of water, so I'm just going to throw it straight into the boiling pot of water, because ultimately really it kind of makes sense. You know, there's no reason why you would want to pre-soak it really if it's ultimately going to be boiled up anyway. So I've got the hot water here. It was boiling. You can't. Oh yes, you can. Okay. So this is another tabletop pot. Noah, shush. This is a tabletop pot, right? And it runs off electricity. It acts as a steamer as well, and it's from Sunbeam, Australia. So usually these come in panels. Don't know if you can see these, but this is a little bit tough. This looks like I might have to cook the whole thing up. But there are certain brands where you can buy them, and they come in like about 4 panels, right? And you can just kind of like, you know, 1 panel per person sort of thing. So you're feeding a family of 4, you might grab like, you know, 4 panels or just grab half of it. But this one looks like, yeah, well, I might be able to take some out and leave the rest. Let's see how we go. Noah, stop. Noah, stop. Sit, please. Sit. Okay. So yeah, I'm just using some of it. It's not too bad. Sometimes they're hard to kind of like pull apart, and then you have to cook the whole thing up. Noe, you want to sit down? You want to sit down? You want to watch TV? Come. You go watch TV. Yeah, come with Mama. Come with Mama. Here you go. Come. Here you go. Good boy. Yeah. We'll see how long it lasts. Okay, just let me put some of these things out of the way quickly. You want to eat, baby? Yeah, we'll eat soon, okay? So what I want to do now is actually attempt to roll these into rolls, okay? So like I said, these are the leaves here. And if you are plucking these from your garden, you really are supposed to like wash this out really well and then dry it, pat dry it, and I think, oh, this is just too much work. So I'm just going to use it straight, okay? And another thing I want to make is the salad. Essentially, it's essentially kind of like a sauce plus salad dressing. It's what the Vietnamese called, I forget the Vietnamese name for it, but the Vietnamese call it fish sauce, okay? So if you go to a Vietnamese shop, right, if you're eating at a Vietnamese restaurant and you ask for fish sauce, expecting this, half the time they think you want the sauce, right? And the sauce is something that you pour over your vermicelli plus salad mixture. So we'll get to that in a bit. But these are the leaves, and you're meant to, basically you want to roll them up face down. You want the meat to go on the dull side, right? Just the way we use banana leaves in our cooking, in Malay cooking. You want the food to go on the dull side, and you want the bright side to be on display, right? Because even my own staff sometimes get it confused. So here you go. Okay. There you go. So that's boiling. I'm just going to turn it off because it doesn't take long at all to cook up. Just let me grab a pair of tongs. Okay. There you go. I really feel for my moderator, Cyan, because she's the one who has to read all the nasty comments and go around deleting them and banning them. I'm so sorry about this, Cyan, but I was warned about Twitch. Look, guys, if you know, for all the would-be trolls, if you think you're gonna throw me off my game, it's not gonna work because I've been doing this for years and years, and I am pretty much unflappable. Okay. Here we go, sweetheart. Good boy. Okay. So the vermicelli. Thanks for following, Barry. Okay. You can't really see it here, but you should only need to boil it for seconds. Okay. So there you go. Completely solid. It's not like spaghetti that you got to boil for 10-15 minutes. You need to only boil this for seconds, and you want to strain it out or take it out. Don't touch, baby. Don't touch. You sit over here, sweetheart. Good boy. And if you've got any questions about like Asian ingredients in particular, hit me up. Okay. And the other thing I want to mention is that Vietnamese, you know, people ask me a lot about Asian ingredients, right? There's a lot of crossovers in the cuisines in Southeast Asia. Every time I post something Malay or Malaysian or something like that, someone from Indonesia will say, oh, you know, they've got something exactly the same over there. Or people from the Philippines will say, oh, you know, they've got something very similar and all that. So all these countries that are basically neighbors, geographic neighbors, tend to share a lot of like very similar recipes and also very similar ingredients. Having said that, some of the ingredients are known by different names, right? And it's not always the case that they're exactly the same. Okay, so say for instance, I always talk about palm sugar. When we talk about palm sugar in Malaysian, Indonesian cooking, right, we usually mean one thing, whereas the Thais mean something else, even though Thailand is our immediate neighbor up north. Okay, so there are differences and there are a lot of similarities. So this is actually virtually like overcooked. Okay, but you get the idea. Noah. Okay, so let's see how we go. Okay, I'm going to move some things out of the way because it's getting a little bit crowded. But this is another Sunbeam product, okay, and I'm going to actually start heating it up because we want to cook these on here. And I'm going to throw some gloves on. Here you go. Just throw this on. Okay. So leaves here, like I said, you wanna put the filling on the dull side. Okay. So turn this over, and I'm gonna turn this around so that I've got the stem farthest away from me. Remember, first time doing this, so give me a break if they look dodgy to start with. But just let me give this a better workout. So I've got the filling here. Just mix this up a bit. I love when I get hit by trolls. It just really makes it really entertaining for me. Okay, cool. Because what it means to me is that I'm getting noticed. Okay, so let's see how we go. And you want about like I guess about 2 teaspoons of filling, right? And let's see how we go with this. You want to roll it up like this, pull it in. And some recipes have it so that you tuck in the ends. I'm not sure if I should. Okay. You get to here, and what happened to my toothpicks? Okay. This is how they do it. Once I refine it, I'll be able to figure out if there's a quicker way to do it. But in the meantime, what they do is that they basically they pierce a hole here, and then tuck the stem underneath. Okay, just to hold it in place like this. Okay, see if you can see it. Okay, so the stem basically is used to kind of like act as like a, you know, something to kind of like secure it. And the leaves are not even in size, right? So this one is a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to use a little bit less filling here. And again, just roll it up as though you were rolling up like a sushi roll. You want to kind of like pull the filling towards you, just to kind of like compress it a little bit. Roll it up. Here's the hole. And I'm just going to cut the stem a bit, but use some of it to just tuck in underneath. And I've left the edges open with this one because, like I said, it's quite a small leaf, right? No. But yeah, you know what, Australian spinach or something leafy like that might actually work with this. I'm just thinking out loud because I struggle to find these leaves as well. They actually grow quite easily from what I'm told. So if you live in Australia and you're able to find this at like Flower Power or something like that, one of your gardening stores, try growing it yourself. Okay. Noe, shush. Okay, so let's tuck it in a bit. And if if you're using a leaf that doesn't have that stem thing, what you could do in theory is actually seal it with a little bit of the filling on the outside, right? That's what we do a lot. You do that with sushi as well. Like if you're making sushi roll and you're trying to secure like the seaweed or something like that, depending on how it's folded, you use a little bit of the sushi rice to act as as gum to hold it in place. So you can in fact do that, right? So I'm just gonna turn the heat on, and what did I do with my oil? I'm gonna drizzle some oil on this as well, guys. Yep. So give me a second. I'm just gonna grab some oil for it. And this bunch of leaves, they cost me $3 Aussie, which is a lot for Chinese greens, right? Usually a bunch of Chinese like veggies, like double the size, would cost $1, $2. so I don't know if it's seasonal, but I'm making Vietnamese dish. I'm getting hate messages because I'm respecting Jackie's wishes and not being rude. Sorry about that. Noah, hush. Sorry, guys. I hate to have to tell Noah that he has to go to his room, but I might just see if he'll settle. I'll just see if he'll be tempted to go and watch his show in his bedroom. So just give me a minute. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. Yeah, baby, come here and watch the TV in your room. Come, let's go. Here we go. Okay. I had Teletubbies going on this laptop here, and I've started a Peppa Pig on the laptop in the bedroom, so hopefully he'll stay in there for at least a few minutes. See, these are just grilling up quite nicely. And they've kind of like kept their shape as well, which is really nice to see. I was worried about them falling apart. Used to it, I just ignore them and show no attention. Yeah, I know, right? I'm famous for dealing with trolls, guys, so if you want to take me on, you're welcome to it. But if you find enough of my writing online, I blog at Medium and I blog at this other website. I even created a special website for someone once. I'm one of those people who thrive on this sort of stuff. Okay, so again, this one is quite a small leaf, so I'm not going to try and tuck in the edges, right? I don't think it matters that much. I've seen different versions of it. So you just pierce a hole with a skewer and just kind of like get the stem in through the hole and cook it like this, right? Oil. So this looks easy enough. Hopefully it tastes okay. In all honesty, a lot of the flavor to me actually comes from just from like the grilling and all that, right? Like I said, these leaves don't seem to produce a lot of flavor in and of themselves. So anything that's fairly flavor neutral should really work. Okay. So these leaves are actually often confused for betel leaves, okay? And I'll show you these. If you Google betel leaves, right, you'll find that they look very, very similar. There's a minor difference in terms of like, in terms of the patterns, right? But it's subtle enough that people get them confused. I used to think they were the same thing, okay? But in Malaysia, betel leaves are usually what they use to wrap, I think it's coming out. Betel leaves are usually what they use to wrap these, the stuff that they chew that gives you like, make your teeth all red. Yeah, I used to see a lot of people from the Indian community chew them, right? What do you call them again? But those are betel leaves, and they actually numb your mouth, okay? So those are different. They look the same, they look very similar, but those are totally different, okay? So make sure you don't get the wrong leaves, because those leaves are gonna completely they're medicinal almost, okay? And they're quite strong flavored. Just turn this down a bit. service. Thanks for hosting me. By the way, guys, if you're looking for good food channels to follow on Twitch, okay. One thing I forgot to mention: these noodles they do stick together, but so you have to rinse them under cold water if you're not eating them right away. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw some cold water in here. Now we come to Mama, please. Okay, so I'm just soaking them in some cold water just to keep them separate. And if you were actually serving this, like if you were cooking something for someone, and you're packing this to go for them, the other thing you can do obviously is actually run some sesame oil or some flavor neutral oil through them to keep them separate. Otherwise, you know, straight out of the pot of water into a tub, they're gonna all like get stuck together, okay? By the time that person's ready to eat it. So I'm just separating them now with cold water. Just put it aside. Okay, so this is cooking, guys. And the other thing I want to do, obviously, apart from the noodles, I need to chop up some greens to go with this. But I want to make that fish sauce, that Vietnamese fish sauce, the name of which I can't remember. Just give me a second, let me check if I can remember. Not mum ot, okay? I'm pronouncing it totally wrong, obviously. But that's apparently what it's called, not mum ot. Sit, please, baby. Come. Here we go. Go and wash your shirt. Here we go. Good boy. Yay! Okay, so let's make the fish sauce. Saucepan. And a stove. Okay, let me just move this out of the way. So if you Google, these leaves are called wild pepper leaves, right? And Google betel leaves, and you'll see that they look almost identical. I think, in fact, some people might actually post the wrong photos of them, but you'll see they look virtually identical. But make sure you don't buy the wrong ones, okay? In Malay, the betel leaves are called daun sirih. These ones are called daun kaduk, okay? But like I said, they look virtually identical. When I post a picture of them online, people always confuse them. So you need to make sure you don't buy the wrong thing, okay? Saucepan. So the fish sauce, the Vietnamese fish sauce, or nok mang ot. I'm gonna get killed by my if my Vietnamese staff are watching this, they're gonna kill me if they hear how I pronounce this. I'm really, really sorry. When I came to Australia, I came to Australia, like I said, over 30 years ago, around about the time where there was a large intake of Vietnamese and Indo-Chinese refugees, right? No one? And because I came around about the same time as they did, and I lived in that part of Sydney as well, which is down near Cabramatta, all the Aussies I met assumed I was a Vietnamese immigrant, but I don't know one thing. I did not know one single Vietnamese word when I came to Australia. And to this day, the only Vietnamese word I know, apart from that nok mang ot, the only Vietnamese word I know now is actually durian, which is sounding, I hope I'm pronouncing it right too. But we look the same, but culturally we're very, very different, okay? So, this recipe that I pulled up, right? Garlic. I'm going to cheat, no actually, I don't have that much of this left, but I would have wanted more garlic, but this is what I've got here. I might top it up with some dried garlic granules. Okay. So garlic in here. And usually you would actually add water, but I'm going to add some coconut juice here, okay? I've just got some leftover coconut drink. There's just coconut water, okay? There's unflavored coconut water. But like I said, usually you would just use straight water. I'm just being a little bit fancy. You want a bit of vinegar. Here we go. Good boy. Okay, I'll give you proper portions after the fact, right? I'm going to put some sugar in here. I'm going to put about 4 tablespoons of sugar and about 4 tablespoons of vinegar. And I'm going to throw more garlic in. This is, like I said, this is dried garlic granules, okay? I always maintain that, you know, fresh is best, but I do appreciate the fact that not everyone has the time to make sure their pantry is fully stocked with fresh garlic and fresh onion and all that. So a lot of my recipes do include using dried ingredients like those, right? So don't take me to task if you're one of those total purists. Sydney is beautiful. We've had a lot of rain though the last couple of weeks. Okay, where's my fish sauce? Come, sweetie. Good boy. Did anyone see what I did with my fish sauce? You're meant to put some fish sauce in here. Did you drop this, Noah? Fish sauce. Okay, let me just mix this up a bit. And you want some chili in here, just however much you feel you can handle. These are done. I'm just gonna... Noah, stop. They're just about done. Okay, you can play with that. What did I do with my fish sauce? Hey, Noe, what did you do with my fish sauce? Okay. Okay, I found it. So, some fish sauce. I'm going to taste test this. But like I said, yeah, add some chili slices into this, or chili mince. Hey, Noe, wash your fingers. Here we go. And instead of vinegar, you can use lemon juice, obviously. But basically, you want sort of like a... sweet and sour kind of like sauce, right? It tastes to me like it needs a little bit more sugar, so I'm going to add that into it. mean, there are different versions of this particular fish sauce recipe. There's some that are very, very concentrated. I don't like the ones that are too concentrated because it tastes like you're basically eating marmalade, you know. I like my sugar. Okay, but that should be pretty much all there is to it. And you can keep this quite well, by the way. You can keep it in the fridge for at least a week, right? And you can add more chilies into it as well if you want. So let's do the veggies. So I've got some cucumber and some lettuce. And I've got these as well. These are a different type of herbs that we use in Malaysian cooking. We call these, in Malaysia, we call these laksa leaves. They look a little bit wilted. But here in Australia, because of the Vietnamese community, they call this Vietnamese mint, okay? So you can see, same ingredient, different names, okay? So if you're looking for this, most stores would know this as Vietnamese mint, okay? The official scientific name for it is polygonum, right? But like I said, we call it laksa leaves. And my Asian greengrocer, because they know me, when I order laksa leaves, they know to give me this, but some of, you know, your regular greengrocer may not know that. And this is actually, you don't really need this for this particular recipe, in all honesty. Usually you get the lettuce and the cucumber and carrots, and the carrots are usually marinated in some, are usually pickled carrots, okay? So you can pickle some julienne carrots as well, and the way you would do it is just basically boil up some vinegar, dilute it with some water, a little bit of water, and with sugar added, boil it up, and then throw it over your julienne carrots and just let them sit, and that will produce the result you want. I'm going to skip that because in all honesty, I don't use that much carrot in the rest of my cooking, so I didn't want to buy a whole bag of carrots and then only use like half of one and then let the rest go to hey, don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. Okay. Noah, don't touch, don't touch. Showing his displeasure. No one, you're going to have to go to childcare, and that will completely defeat the purpose of my doing this. I'm doing this with my son here, in part because I want to show other women out there who are struggling to juggle everything with their lives, to show, look, you can do this, all right? You can actually still be doing something useful online, despite having to babysit kids. So as much as I can, I'm trying to keep him here with me. Noe? But he is at that stage where he's trying to play up. He's usually very, very good at home. So these greens are just roughly cut up, okay? They don't have to be that beautiful. So that's the cucumber here. And I'm going to grab a bowl to assemble all this. There we go. Okay, hang on a sec. Okay, we are just about to eat, baby. Look at this. Look at this. So I'm just straining the vermicelli out. A bit bright. And with vermicelli, you can use them in soupy noodles. You can use them in the stir fry. You can actually deep fry the vermicelli before you cook. There are lots and lots of different ways to use noodles, guys. So I'm going to try and do a special noodle series to show you what type of noodles to buy and how you can use them, okay? Not all of them are conducive to being deep fried, but some are. And also vermicelli, depending on whether you deep fry it from a dry state, like the packet I showed you, or if you deep fry it from this state, they will be different, but they are used both ways as well, so it's quite interesting. So got the noodles in here, right? The greens, the wilted laksa leaves or Vietnamese mint. And you can throw other types of herbs into this as well. Let's throw this on. I'm going to throw some sliced chilies on top just to give it some color. Okay, and usually you will get this served with a side of this fish sauce. Okay, I'm just going to drizzle this over. Okay, so you can see this. Okay, let me try one of them and see how it tastes. Okay, this could be interesting. Noah, hang on. Here you go. Okay, let me try one of these. Okay. The seasoning tastes fine. It tastes very, the beef flavor is quite strong in this. I've seen some recipes where they mix the beef mince with a bit of pork mince. I don't eat pork, so I left it out. I was tempted to add chicken mince to it, but I have a feeling if I were to do this again, I might try that, right? I think sometimes beef can be quite overpowering, if you know what I mean, in its flavor. And I mean, like it tastes fine, but it just tastes a bit more beefy than the version I've had at the at the Cabramatta restaurant. Okay, there you go. But very, very simple to make, huh? Let me see if there are any last questions. It's on me. I don't understand why being nice means others get upset. I know, right? Yeah. But that's the best way to tackle it, you know, just by being nice. And you're the one who's going to sleep well at night. Let me see if there are any other questions I missed out on. Yeah, and thanks for that, Sarah. Question. Dome. Have I ever had the dish dome? No, I haven't. I will have to Google it. Assuming it's not a troll question, no, I haven't. But I will Google it and see what you mean. But I know very little about Vietnamese food. Like I said, you know, when I go to Cabramatta, even the Vietnamese think I'm Vietnamese, but I'm not. I know one Vietnamese term, which is sao rang, which means durian. Okay, but yeah. But if you've got any other questions, especially about Asian ingredients, Southeast Asian ingredients or whatever, hit me up. You know what? I was thinking of a giveaway for this because I've been invited to the opening of a new Malaysian restaurant here in Sydney, and I've been invited and I've been asked to bring a group of friends along, and I was going to actually use that as a giveaway, but then I was thinking, oh, you know, how many of you guys are actually from Sydney who can actually attend? But anyway, my next broadcast is Friday, my time, 12:30, and which would be Thursday evening, 9:30 East Coast in the USA. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you there. Got any questions, hit me up. Don't forget to follow me on Twitch, which is JackieM.live. That takes you directly to my Twitch page. Hit follow and turn on notifications so you know when I'm going live. I'm thinking of adding a couple of extra broadcasts on weekends, but we'll see because of Noah. Main thing is Noah being disruptive. Fridays, you don't have Noah. Mondays, you don't have Noah. Okay, it's just Wednesdays is his day off, so he decides he wants to disrupt. But yeah, if you've got any questions at all, hit me up. You can reach me on social media, but my main website where all these recipes get posted is JackieM.com.au. And thank you for joining me, guys. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet because, like I said, Noah is very, very impatient. As soon as I hit end broadcast, he'll toddle off and watch his show quietly for the rest of the evening. I just know that's what he does. Anyway, you've actually given me inspiration to get off my butt and do things. Well, exactly. There you go. See, you know, you've got no excuse. If I can do it, you've got no excuse, and do it. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for interacting. Luckies, right? Okay, thanks so much for interacting, and to everyone else as well. I look forward to catching up with you on chat again very, very soon. And I will see you this Friday my time, Friday 12:30, and Sunday evening in North America, East Coast. Okay, ciao. Here we go.